welcome back to this Danny Dot podcast. This is section 3 of my solo adventure around Thailand. The last installment, I feel, because we started to come down to the wire and you guys are loving hearing about this trip. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should be like a travel influencer. I think it's just because I really took on so much of the experience that I just absorbed every aspect of it. Everything I could get my eyes onto, I could touch, I could eat, I could hear. I'm such a sponge when it comes to travel. Anyway, when I last left you guys, we were departing from Koh Samui. I had this fabulous time at Ark Bar and Resort. Oh, I have goosebumps now rethinking about this. Oh. Anyway, when you get to Koh Samui Airport, it is a favourite of mine. I was telling you guys about how your bag gets scanned and then you have to wait and look and make sure that you're not travelling with anything you shouldn't. Once you go through and clear customs, I actually managed to, it's just such a vibe when you're on islands. Airports are crazy, but I completely forgot about a can of lemonade I had in my bag, so I had to let go of that, which is really annoying because when it's 35 degrees, all you want is some sugar from some lemonade. But anyway, pass through the security area. I just want you guys to know, if you're traveling out of Koh Samui, you're flying, it was actually domestic. I was flying to Phuket, so I can't say anything about the international area. Domestic, they look after you. There is such a thing as a courtesy corner. Now, this may be the only airport in the world that does this, so I kind of had an idea that this was a thing, but, when you see something on social media, do you really believe it? I am just so thrilled that this exists because the courtesy corner, all my expectations about everything went out the window. I'm telling you, there was muffins, juices, teas. There was these amazing, I don't know how they cook or bake things in Thailand, but everything's just like a cloud. It's actually delicious. Cookies, there was coffee, tea. There's no reason to buy anything at the airport, but there is still cafes and things too. I don't know. What are you even buying from them? Well, the courtesy corner's right there. Don't be weird. So yeah, I grabbed a couple of little mini muffins and cookies, and I just literally sat and watched. I was sitting on grass. That's the weird thing. I was eating my snacks, sitting on grass, watching planes coming and going. It was it's just made me so happy. Nothing about this trip was rushed. I gave myself plenty of time to get places. I sat in the moment. I enjoyed every part of the culture, and it was just such a cool thing. But yeah, departing out of Koh Samui, they put you on these golf carts and take you to the aircraft. You feel so VIP. It's unbelievable. However, the airport, I don't know, islands are kind of weird like this, but they are very lax. And so obviously it's not the busiest of airports. There's a lot of time that the staff can be sitting there and they're all on their phones, literally every single one. And I was watching these gardeners that were just kind of across the runway a little bit. It was so hot and they were covered head to toe in their work years just gardening and landscaping, and I felt for the poor buggers. I literally wanted to run back to security, grab my can of lemonade and run it over to this guy. I just felt man, how is he doing this? I'm literally sitting on the grass with a fan pointed at me, just dying. It just doesn't get any easier. Well, I thought I was kind of coping, but Phuket is a different kettle of fish. Anyway, I had zero expectations as to what Phuket was going to be like, and a lot of advice to avoid it. I mean, everyone. They said, Danny, it's dirty. Why would you go there? Spend more time in other places. And I was like, well, you know what? I need to go and see it for myself. I want to go and be like, ugh, get me out of here, but I want to make my own opinion, and that's really important when you travel, is that you form your own opinion, because what might be your kettle of fish might not be someone else's. So whatever. I landed and it was just oh my gosh. Ugh, so much. I noticed that they have buses to the terminal, and there was this area on the bus that said keep clear, doors fold inwards. And I was watching this guy and he just was so ready to get off this bus, and he was standing in the way of the door, and fair dinkum, the door came in and just whacked him in the face. I can still see it. Ah! I burst out laughing and I was like, this guy doesn't speak English or he can't read English or whatever. And I was like, move back from the door. And you can tell my tolerance is going through the toilet a little bit. But anyway, what I want you guys to know is that there is a huge sign at the airport that says there is a taxi expectation price list. And it basically says everywhere you can go and how much to expect to be charged. And there is a huge phone number to call if you're overcharged. So I don't know, there was such a moment, like there's a bit of safety here. Okay, I'm feeling it. However, the night before I left Koh Samui, I booked a $4 bus. I was just thinking it's going to be an hour from the airport to Patong Beach, which I did not know until I was leaving. I realised, okay, $4 for a bus is kind of a bit haggard. I don't know what to expect. Didn't know where to go. Where am I going to find the damn bus? It was just a mess. Anyway, I got on board and this bus just happened to not be going to the hotel directly. So I basically had to stay alert and I needed to get off when we were in the central area near Bangla Road because that's where I knew my hotel was basically amongst all the action. Anyway, as I was sitting on the bus, there was this guy who was yelling down the phone and I started getting a little bit cranky because he was absurdly rude and there was other passengers that were just like, shut up, what are you yelling about? And that's when I started cottoning on that this was quite a town or a city that was visited by lots of Middle Eastern and Indian cultures. And when I started noticing that we were arriving into Patong, and I almost missed my stop because I was just like absolutely dumbfounded, it became quite evident as to where I was going to be setting up camp for 2 nights. You know what I mean? I almost missed my stop to jump off the bus and I was actually overwhelmed by the congestion on the roadside. There were so many market stalls and having to see over the tents just to find my hotel, I was like overwhelmed. I mean, this hotel was a little bit back from the road and it was a high rise. And basically all I could do was lock eyes onto the high rise. And it was one of the 3 in Patong that was over 25 floors high. So I saw it, I locked eyes, I walked towards it. It was hot. Like, I need my 7-Eleven drink with electrolytes pronto hot. I mean, I couldn't even put words into how hot I felt. It was just relentless. Anyway, I got to the foyer and I'm standing there and I'm like, this can't be right. This is an amazing hotel. Everything seemed actually okay again. Like, okay, it's one thing to be outside in the hustle and bustle, but to actually have a peace and quiet like hotel and just be a little bit luxurious. Like, I'm not going to lie. It was super air conditioned, like an icebox. And I mean, this is a huge establishment. I was so thrilled with my booking and my choices here. There was no expectations in this trip other than a swimming pool. I mean, I didn't care, and literally you can ask any of my friends. Hotels and me don't get along, but this hotel was phenomenal. The lady actually read my special request box on the booking, which said I wanted to be on a high level. And I think it was just basically that. So she put me on level 24 out of 25, gave me a couple of free drink vouchers. The room, oh my gosh, I can still remember it. It was stunning. I just stood there and I was like, this is a joke. I don't stay in places like this, but this was 5-star. It had free amenities that were above and beyond the shampoo and conditioner and the shower cap. I mean, I'm talking... Once I found out that there was free condoms, I was in a fit of hysterics. Like, why has the hotel room got free condoms? Is it actually like insinuating a lot of sex is going to happen? I don't know. So anyway, it also had one of those walls that slides back so you can have a bath and look at the view, which was amazing. I was gifted a free cocktail in the bar above my room for the evening. So that was, it was like a sky lounge or something. So already I'm thinking, wow, this is worth staying. It's, something that I kind of second-guessed on the bus trip to Patong. I actually rang my mum and I said, shit, I've made a mistake. There's a reason why I've had so much advice to avoid the place. I should just go to Singapore, continue my travels, get the hell out of here. But nah, I know I needed to see the chaos and see Patong myself. So I unpacked, got myself all settled in. I mean, I kind of hadn't really unpacked the whole trip. It's just kind of one of those things where I felt like my time in the islands was so short that I just kind of kept everything together and I had my routine of what I was, unpacking and repacking. And this hotel was kind of like so much luxury, so much space. I exploded. I mean, this backpack was just strewn across the room. It was actually quite good because I actually got to see all the things I'd collected on my travels. But by this stage, I was a little bit hungry and I thought, oh, I need to go and find myself some lunch. And I was very aware the fact that there was going to be a New Zealand rugby game being played somewhere. It was the Warriors, it was the league. I was like, I'm going to find a bar that is playing some sport. I'm feeling it. I want some sport. So when I got to the foyer, back down to ground level again, and I was thinking, okay, this is going to be it. I'm actually going to leave the hotel and I'm not carrying this 15-kilo backpack. I'm going to breeze through the heat. And one of the things I said a lot on the trip was just keep going. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Just keep moving, you don't look back. But I didn't have to go that far. I seemed to have this luck this whole trip where everything I wanted was within walking distance. And I obviously had a little bit of an idea of what eateries were around me. There was a lot of seafood and everything else. But randomly, there was this Australian bar that I thought, holy hell, there's a shitload of Aussies in here. You've got AFL on a couple of screens. You've got the NRL on the other. I was like in my happy place. It was once, I think I'm one of those people that like when you start feeling like you're actually in a place and you start unpacking and having a minute, having a meal, absorbing your surroundings, then you kind of, I don't know, it's like the adrenaline just comes down and you just kind of come back down to normal and you think, okay, I can do this. So I sat in this really cool restaurant, had some nachos, had my jug of beer, watched the Warriors with a couple of Aussies. We were yarning. I had a couple of fans pointed on me. It's like they definitely knew that I was from New Zealand and I was actually struggling. So I went back to the hotel and I figured it was happy hour up in the sky bar above my room. So had my free cocktail, stayed for 4 more. They were buy one, get one free. So I had some margaritas in this stunning location. And then I decided to go back outside for a walk. As it was getting darker, I decided I was going to walk Bangla Road. I love the freedom of not knowing what's around the corner and how you can just fall into experiences. But Bangla Road is something else. It's overwhelming. It's crazy. There's super cheap drinks everywhere, naked people dancing, there's street shows, there's bars competing for the loudest music. It's a fucking lot. So I walked the whole street and I filmed it for my brother and he was utterly shocked. He was like, I can't even work out what music's even playing, Danny. Like, what are you even... And I said, I'm not listening to one bar. This is like 30 bars playing full blast music, trying to be louder than each other. It's a lot. So as I was like walking back from one end of Bangla to the other, I decided, look, I'm going to grab some dinner, try and make it something memorable in Phuket, which now, as I'm thinking about this podcast, I actually don't know what I ate that night. But anyway, it was a lot. So I stopped in at one of these little, I don't even know what they call them. Like, it's a walk-through road. So there's no cars or scooters or anything. So it's just a lot of foot traffic. And you just kind of sit there and these bartenders just serve you alcohol. Like, all of a sudden it could be 9 p.m. at night and then it could be 2 a.m. in the morning. There's no in between. It's crazy. So I just thought I'm a little bit overwhelmed. It's like an actual thing, but I'm going to make my way back to a 7-Eleven, get some snacks. I've had a really great afternoon, and I think this whole trip was mostly based around day drinking with people and meeting a lot of great people, but also the safety of being back in the hotel come evening because you don't know what goes on. So when I was back at my room, obviously I sort of thought, I don't really want to spend the day that I have tomorrow in Phuket and just kind of do retail therapy or markets or whatever. I want to go away. I need to go and see snorkelling and island. Like everyone says, there's some really cool places off Phuket. So I thought, I'm going to just book a half-day tour. I have no expectations around this. I was a little bit drunk. I had no idea what I was doing. So I flat out decided, book it. It was basically not even $40. Like, I think it was $35. So the next morning I got organised. I had breakfast at the pool, which was a stunning pool. It had a swim-up pool bar. I think I had like a chicken hot dog, which sounds weird, but it was delicious. And I think I had 2 mimosas. So by like 9 a.m. it was already 30 degrees. I'd had 2 mimosas and my chicken hot dog. And I was trying to pace myself, but I was actually just internally excited to go and see turtles, marine life, water, whatever. Phuket is so dense. It's like the Gold Coast of Australia when there's like just like a natural disaster and it just needs a clean up or something. Like Phuket lacks cleanliness, basically. So what I thought I booked and what I actually booked, oh my God, here comes the story, guys. It's gonna go crazy. So midday, this bus turns up with some passengers on it. And you know, like when you join tours and it's a bit unnerving because you don't know if people that are in the transport speak English or they want to even speak with you or whatever. It's funny because I was alone and I didn't know what to do. No one was talking. There was a girl sitting across from me. She was asleep. I laughed at this because I thought, oh my God, why are you asleep? There's so much to see. Are you overwhelmed or are you hungover? Like, talk to me. Anyway, we pull into this other hotel, which is bougie as fuck. Like, it is a nice establishment. And we're picking up some more passengers. It's been 20 minutes. We're waiting for them. They're still not in the foyer, blah, blah, blah. This guy who's sitting behind me, he climbs over the chair, goes to get a cigarette and goes for a smoke. I don't know how long he was outside of the van for. I reckon it was like 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5 at the most. I think he just went for a walk. I don't know. Anyway, the driver comes back and gets in and drives off. No passengers got in. The guy that left has still not come back. I'm sitting there and no one says anything. I'm like, what? Oh my God, it happened so fast. I was like internally laughing because I was just thinking, this is mad. Honestly, what is happening? And then we drove about 2 minutes and pulled up at a 7-Eleven just around the corner, which by this stage I was internally furious because I was thinking, does the driver need a toasty or like what's going on? I need to be in the ocean. I need to be seeing marine life. Why am I here? But no. The passenger that climbed over me literally got out of the bus and went to a 7-Eleven to get food for this trip. And like, I was internally laughing and thinking, I was just asking a million questions in my head. Like, did he tell the driver he was going to the 7-Eleven? Like, how did he even know that was there? It was like in the most weirdest place. And it was quite far from where we were parked up. And I can't imagine him running to a 7-Eleven in this heat, but maybe he did. I don't know. So there was like this whole awkwardness for like the whole road trip. Like no one talked. It was an hour. It was weird. I didn't read the fine trip. I didn't realize that it was over an hour. I was hungry. I was thinking I've made a mistake. I've made a fucking mistake. I didn't know what I was doing, you guys. Ugh. I just looked out the window for the whole hour. I was over traveling at this stage. I was just, I just wanted some normalcy, but honestly, it wasn't happening. We get to this old hickety dock thing and there's multiple buses and we go into this area and we listen to this guy talk about this. He pulled like this seminar thing out of thin air and was just telling us about ocean life and what to expect from the 3 islands that we're visiting and how there's going to be these spiky fish that could harm you if you step on them. Like, I don't know what the hell they were, and I was so scared, these stupid urchin things, that I actually ended up buying some swim shoes. Ugly as fuck, I'm not going to lie. But I was not going to risk an injury from these damn spiky things. Like, he would say to us that, if you stood on one or if one got in your hand or whatever, it takes 3 days for the spikes to dissolve, and it's like excruciating pain. And I'm thinking, that's not okay. Maybe I should have read the fine print, right? Yeah, I know. We board this like boat and I'm sitting at the front of the boat and we start going to the first island. We were actually made aware that it's an island that had, the better food and the better toilets. So if you need to use those facilities, this is the island out of the 3 to use. Rah-rah. And I was sort of like thinking, well, he was telling us if you can get past the shoreline and it's a little bit like bad weather. So there's a bit of, I don't know how to describe it. The water's not clear or whatever. And I was so stressed because the way that he was saying that we had 45 minutes on this island, and something they don't tell you or talk to you when you're by yourself is that you have to take care of your belongings while you're in the ocean. And I was so weirded out by like, how do you keep safe? So I felt so rushed to get organized. And once I was in the ocean, it was like, I don't know, I didn't really give a shit about my stuff anymore. I was good. I was like, I'm in the water. Who cares? The fish was subpar, nothing exciting. And then, I started talking to a couple of blokes that were on the tour and there was about 30 of us combined in these buses. I go around this random corner and I see this chick who's struggling to stand. She's like half in the water, half falling over. So I throw my hand over to help her and we get talking. She's from London. We kind of just fell into this friendship of helping each other for the full day. I was this overzealous one who just jumped in the water when she was nervous, but she eventually got the hang of it and got her confidence up and she'd follow me. So we were standing on the beach and we were talking for ages, and we walked back to the boat, parked up on the island and boarded for the next island. We kind of like had this, I'll look after your stuff, you look after my stuff, especially when we were out scuba diving and stuff. So anyway, I was sitting at the front of the boat and she came and sat with me, and there was a couple of New Zealand lads who were taking cannabis gummies. They offered me one when I first got on the boat, which is probably what was making this half-day trip a little bit more bearable because it was raining, it was rough seas, but it was still 30 degrees, and it was just a boat of passengers from all over the world chasing adventure. Like, no one knew what to expect. The next island was a flop. The visibility was shit. We all jumped off the boat just for pure enjoyment. That was fucking funny. I would never forget just plummeting into this ocean. It was weird. I personally love jumping into deep ocean water. There's something so thrilling about not knowing what's underneath you. I'm a little bit of a daredevil. The third island was funny. It was actually a cat island. There was just like over 400 cats on it or something. They had amazing crepes. So me and, I'll call her London, and my friend, we ordered some crepes and sat in some sun lounges. It was strange. The whole day was super odd, but me and my friend were just laughing through it. So we sat in these lounges, ate the crepes, watched some passengers smoke joints and dance to reggae on the beach. It was such a vibe. One chick I actually couldn't work out. She was so beautiful but very enhanced. She was from the Middle East, and I questioned if she was actually a female, just quietly, because there was something strange going on. I'm not one to judge. She had an amazing body, but she didn't know how to do her makeup or do her hair. It was kind of confusing from like I don't know, it was weird. Anyway, one of the blokes from our bus who was French, he was into her. So we were watching them flirt and get along, and I was encouraging him. I was like, get it. But I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, I'm really not sure. She's beautiful, but I just can't work this out. Anyway, we boarded this boat back to the mainland, and once we were ported up, we were given some free noodles. Now, I normally don't go for noodles from strange establishments like this, but I think the gummy and the joint smell was hitting, so I had a bowl, and they were okay. But this French guy chasing the lady, he had 3 bowls. I was like, bro, leave some for the rest of the meal. I'm so loved. Sorry, I'm about to tell a story that just sends me to the moon. He kept going back for more damn noodles, so I named him Noodles, but anyway, I think the whole while we were on the bus for an hour journey back, the ice was definitely broken between all of us. We were chatty, we were all getting along. We had this funny Korean guy in front of me. I was sitting next to London, my friend, and we were yarning about flights to Phuket and all that kind of shit. When randomly, oh my God, I'm going to start laughing, Mr. Korea in front of me, who's lying across 3 seats, lets off this god almighty fart after one too many noodles. And as it happened, I looked up the back, and old Noodles behind me, the French dude, looks me dead in the eye and asked if that was me. And I swear, you guys, I had like an out-of-body moment where I just laughed so hard I farted too. So as you can imagine, I think these noodles are repeating on everyone in this bus. Everyone's in disgust at Mr. Korea because his was loud and obnoxious. I was just laughing so hard at being blamed at I farted as a lady fart. Old Noodles was beside himself in hysterics, just thinking, what the fuck is happening? I think we were delirious. I don't know what was going on, but it was that kind of laugh where no noise came out. And I just sat there just thinking, I'm in this bus with these random people. I've just farted. It's so bad. Oh my God, I can't even deal. I can't. We get back to our hotels. I've swapped Instagrams with London. We're planning on catching up for dinner. So I was so excited. I was like, yes, I'm going to go on an opportunity to go out in Phuket with a friend and explore, which is a hell of a lot better than doing it solo because there's something weird about that fucking Bangla Road. We go to London got dropped off first, so that was fine. She was all sweet. I was third to get dropped off, so it went London, then Mr. Korea, and as he got out of the van, he farted again, and I was like, this guy's a dick. It's just pure filth. And then, I got dropped off, so I was so excited. It was like one of those days again where the vitamin D hits, you've been in the ocean, the sand's all over your skin, you're a little bit windburned, sunburned, whatever. the stories are fierce. Like, there's just so much to discuss and unpack. It was such a fun day of like gummies, Kiwi lads, London, French guy, noodles, Korea. Like, it's so fun. I can't even deal. Ugh. So anyway, I had to go meet London on Bangla Road, and it was just like this really crazy sort of excitement, you know. I literally spent the afternoon hanging out with this cool chick, and now all of a sudden we're having dinner together. We ended up going to some random restaurant, which I don't know, I thought I was being adventurous, but I ordered the most spiciest dinner of my life, and I didn't expect my mouth to burn off, but oh my God. I finished it. I'm proud to say I finished it. There wasn't anything on my whole Thailand trip that I didn't question and didn't think, well, shit, I shouldn't be eating this, or what is this? I was always just enjoying every aspect of the food and everything. So, yeah, once we said goodbye and stuff, which was really sad, I was like, shit, we've actually had a really good afternoon, evening. We just, you know, talked, like, I don't know. It's like, I really enjoy making friends because you don't know what their life story is. You don't know what they're into. And I think she was really interested in hearing about, like, what I do for work and the things that I do in New Zealand. And we've made a plan to catch up when she comes out to Australia, which is super exciting. It's just like, shit, yeah, we did that, you know, we made a friendship. But I was really excited because the next day I was leaving for my next part of my adventure. So I don't know, like, as I'd been away for 2 weeks and I'd been in the ocean and swam in the pools and everything, my hair had lightened dramatically. Like, I mean, it was like weirdly mousy brown, but like also a little bit grey in areas. And I was like, oh my God. So I'd picked up this packet of hair dye from the 7-Eleven, which was barely $2. And I decided in the hotel that I was going to do a hair dye job. Mostly because I was actually going to be catching up with someone on my trip. So I started to do my hair dye job, and I was so freaked out about leaving like some hair dye on the bench or whatever. But it turned out really good for someone that like had never dyed their hair in a hotel room, and I did such a good job. I was so proud. But I thought I'd just let that, you know, tell you guys about that because you can do anything when you travel. The next day, I had been logistically just mucking up left, right, and centre. Like, you could tell my tolerance for travel and being by myself was starting to be very thin. I had to leave my hotel and walk, I think it was 2 kilometres in 35-degree heat up to where I catch my bus that goes back to Phuket airport, which is where I can catch a transport to my hotel, which I was there for one night. I overthought the process because I was like, fuck, that's 2 kilometres, it's super hot, backpack's heavy, market stalls, not enough pavement for like anyone to be on. It was horrible. But anyway, I did it, and then I got to the bus and it was fully air conditioned, and I thought, holy shit, I did that. And I was so excited. It was just like, I don't know, it was playing on my mind because there's a few times on the whole trip that I didn't cut corners. I just went the long way about things, and I was like, fuck, man, why do you keep doing this? It's just one of those weird experiences where my mum had this saying the whole time I was away, and she kept saying, you don't know what you don't know. And this is exactly right. There's so many times on this trip where I was like, well, I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know I could cut corners and do that. So blah, blah, blah. Anyway, once I had taken this bus back down to Phuket airport, it really bothers me that you can't catch like Ubers from an airport. Like, who the heck is making these rules up that the transport, you have to like leave and go so far from the airport just to catch transport? It really rips my undies. So anyway, I caught this Uber thing from Phuket airport to my hotel, which was basically 5 minutes from the airport, just because the next morning I was flying quite early to Singapore. And anyway, this was like one of my last hotels that I was staying at that ChatGPT had picked, and it was so nice. It was just near the runway. Obviously you could be in the pool and you could watch planes coming in, so I was really happy. But they damn well upgraded me, and I'm not sad about it, but I'm just sad that it was basically 1 kilometre from the road. So when I was walking from the foyer of the hotel right through to my room, which these were just bungalows, it wasn't a high-rise, it was just bungalows, you had to pass like basically all the restaurants, all the bars, all the swimming pools, and then I felt like I was in the arse end of the hotel, but it was basically a family room. Like, they gave me this massive room that had a separate lounge, a massive bathroom, I mean, the room itself had 3 air conditioning units, so that speaks volumes as to how big this thing was. And I was, when they say, oh, we've upgraded you, you just kind of nod and think, oh, thanks. But in hindsight, what you book at the time is because you're hyper aware of like what your next steps as a solo traveler is going to be. And more often than not, they were upgrading me. Like, it happened more than 5 times. I was just like, oh! So it was fine. Once I'm really happy that I chose to take the bus from Patong down to Phuket, because it was one of those things where I could see, Phuket, and it just doesn't it doesn't make me want to go back. So when you stay near the airport and it's super clean and everything's looked after, it's because you can fully tell that it's just like a fly in, fly out area. Like Phuket's one of those transit places where you can continue on to like the UK, or you can continue to Sydney or whatever. But yeah, for me, I just saw the arse end of Phuket. So yeah, look, the hotel that they gave me, the room, it was 10 out of 10, but it just made no sense. When I had sort of finished up in that hotel room and the next morning I had to leave at 5 a.m, I actually had to time it because it was raining so heavily to run that kilometre, which is so annoying because I was trying to be so like nicely put together for my flight that I was just running with this umbrella for a kilometre with my backpack to the reception. At one point, I did think about ringing and saying, can you bring like a golf cart or something? Because I don't want to do this. But anyway, I roughed it again another time. I didn't cut corners. So, yeah, look, my time in Phuket was strange. It's not somewhere I'd go back to. I've seen it now. I would sort of say it was not somewhere that I would find any goodness from. I don't know. It's a really weird place. I can't even describe it. I know the last podcast about the Gulf of Thailand, I kind of struggled with words because I still think I'm absorbing the fact that was such a magical thing, that talking about Phuket and not making out like it's the most disgusting place is really difficult. Anyway, once I was at the airport, I'd been made aware that the customs and immigration and security is there's a lot of planes that leave at the one time, so you've got to be very early. And I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck in this queue for ages, and it's really important I get this flight to Singapore. So I checked in, and I already had a weird vibe about some passengers that were checking in as well. I was like, oh God. So what happened next? Sorry, I've still got this cough. I noticed that there was a 7-Eleven in the airport, so I grabbed all my last minute snacks. Like, I filled up my duffel bag with these 2 for $1 stupid coconut waffles that I became obsessed with. I was flying with Scoot, which to me is a completely new airline. I've not flown with them. I was very excited. And there was a little bit of entitlement, I'll say, in the line to check in, and I was thinking, if I just be polite and nice or whatever, they'll look after me and make sure that, they, if I had any questions, I could get them answered. Oh my gosh, the most obnoxious staff I've ever met in my life. It was so weird, and I actually gave feedback because Scoot doesn't have its own part of the airport where it's dedicated to that airline. You don't even know that that's where you're supposed to line up to even get checked in. So I don't know if I'd fly out of Phuket. Well, no, look, I'm not going back to Phuket, so don't worry about that question. As I'm passing through security, it's basically empty. I went through, it was easy peasy, found my way to a Hungry Jack's or a Burger King, got my burger. I'm glad I did this because I didn't really eat. I never know what to expect on these airlines. So I'm always kind of ah! So I just grabbed a burger. It was completely fine. And I thought, the airport's average at best, half inside, half outside. I'll go downstairs and get myself all organised to board the plane. So it's raining, like I keep saying, it keeps bloody raining. It's like torrential bloody downpours, and the windows are all fogged. The staff are all sitting around playing on their phones. No one's got any of those squeegee things, and no one's cleaning the windows so that you can see the planes or anything. It's a lot of heat, and there's not a lot of air conditioning. And there were some people sitting opposite me that were younger people. They were quite fun. We were just talking about, Singapore and stuff. And lo and behold, this almighty crash and this scream happens. And I looked up and I was like, what the hell? One of the entitled horrible women from the line-in, the check-in line, she had slid on an overflowing toilet. I think it was wheeze. It could have been water. I don't know. And anyway, she was wearing grey pants and she stood up and she was like, I demand compensation. And I burst out laughing because, like, this is an entitled situation, but she could walk and she demanded a wheelchair from the check-in, and then once she parked up at where she was to board the plane, she got out of the wheelchair, walked herself to the toilet, slipped on some water, demands compensation, walks back to her wheelchair. Like, that's how entitled she thinks she is. She doesn't need to do anything. She wants to get, like, wheeled around the airport. It's like a weird thing. So I was, like, laughing, and she just pissed me off the whole flight. She demanded to be boarded first. She was rude and horrible to the staff. And then they did this weird thing where they board in sections. Oh, it just elongates the process. So obviously it's raining outside. We're taking this bus to the airline, and then all of a sudden you're getting wet standing there because you've got out of the damn bus and you're boarding the plane. Like, it was a logistical nightmare. I was like, Anyway, get to Singapore, and I'm very aware I've got an hour 15 to get to my next flight, which I've never been to Singapore. I don't know where anything is. And anyway, we got off the aircraft at gate B, right? I'm thinking, okay, C's not bar. C's where I need to go. So basically it was B23 and I had to get to C26. As I'm trying to get off the airline, which this is another fucking muck up, is they didn't board people that were, transiting near the front of the aircraft. It's quite a big plane. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to take forever. So already I'm starting to be like, this is not going to work. And I can just see the time just kind of ticking down. I get off the plane and I start running to Seagate, and I see the sign that says estimate walking time 25 minutes. And I'm like, I beg your pardon? Like, what? And I wanted to go to the bathroom. I wanted to do all the things, get myself prepared. I was essentially meeting a friend in Bali. Like, this is my next flight. I've got like no time. No, nothing happened. You know what's even worse? The entitled freak that slipped on her piss, she got wheeled and then taken in this stupid, like, internal vehicle through the airport straight to the gate. Like, and she could walk. So I was furious. So I ran. I was like, this is going to be a mess. My phone battery's on 3%. I've got my mum ringing. I was just trying to let people know I'd got to Singapore okay. Get to the gate. We have to go through security again. I'm furious. I'm like, I don't have time for this shit. Like, my head is spinning. We get through and there was like 5 people sitting around a PowerPoint. So I just like jammed my phone in there, bent over, and I was just on the phone to my mum, and I'm like, I'm in Singapore, but I've got 3 minutes to get on the next plane. And she was like, what? So I didn't even click this had even happened. But as I was boarding the next plane, it was a Dreamliner. And if you know, you know, but I love flying. No, I don't love flying. I love aeroplanes. So I just stood there, and as I was boarding, I was like, fuck, it's a Dreamliner, like my dream aircraft. And I was just a little bit excited, and I'd left the airport, so I had no Wi-Fi, I had no service in Singapore, couldn't tell anyone. I was just like, holy shit. Yeah, look, a bit of a mess. So I'm sitting on this plane and I'm just like, oh my God, you couldn't plan it any better. It's not something I did. I wanted to go from Phuket to Bali. It just happened to go via Singapore. But Scoot Airlines made it such a nightmare. I was scared that I was going to miss one, and oh my God. Anyway, once I got on the plane and they kind of came around with some snacks and stuff, I'll give you this, right? Scoot gives you some bloody good snacks. They had these nacho chips with cheese dip, and I tell you, I was a happy little bunny. The airline was, not full. There was enough room to stretch out. The seats are huge. I just kind of I don't know. It seemed like it was a bit hectic and rushed, but that's only because in my mind I was excited to be in Singapore. I was excited to land there. It's such an amazing, marine area to see the ships and stuff. Singapore's massive. But no, I had to rush. I was mad about it. But yeah, look, it was really I think my stress level started to come down just because I was on to the next location. And to me, I'll tell you guys, booking Bali, I didn't think twice about it. I basically just thought, you know what, I could go to Brisbane for 6 nights, see the family. But to me, Brisbane's not a holiday, it's home. It's like where I go and where I feel safe, and I've got heaps of support and everything else. I still had this weird rush that I just wanted to explore, and I wanted to keep going, but not by myself. So I reached out to my best friend on the planet and I said to him, hey, look, I could come to Brisbane for 6 nights, or do you want to meet me in Bali? literally, not a word of a lie, you guys, within 24, maybe 30 hours, he'd booked tickets. He was just like, yeah, cool, I'll come too. So it was really nice to know that I had a friend that was meeting me. Of course, I could have done Bali by myself. It's not a big deal. I've been there multiple times. It's just somewhere that's really, it's comfortable for us. Like, I've been his friend for 25 years, and quietly, like, we were sort of celebrating the fact that we have been friends for 25 years, but also a lot of people didn't know. It was something we didn't tell anyone. It was more, it's not about anyone else. It's about us as friends coming together and just spending some time, because he's got a partner, I don't. But, you know, sometimes there's a lot of extra noise. So, yeah, it was really special. And I think I'll leave it here as to what happened in Bali. I might just touch on that in the next episode, just because it was a week of just hanging out and doing fun stuff. And the stories that came out of Bali are just ones that I'll never forget anyway. But yeah, all in all, like, my whole solo Thailand adventure, it was 2 weeks too fast, to be honest. I've had heaps of questions in my DMs about this, that, and the other, and lots of people wanting to know, you know, just stuff I've barely even scratched the surface and talking about. And I feel like in this episode, I've obviously brought up stories that were quite big for me, things that were quite funny that I wanted to share with you. I've been asked multiple times what my main takeaways from Thailand are. Exactly that. Food. No. No. Thailand is very special. It will forever be a place that I could travel solo by myself, not be scared, not feel overwhelmed. I just really took it in my stride. It was such a really great starting point for being a solo traveler. I was safe. I really had fun on these experiences that I was doing. The things that I learned as a solo traveler was, like, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. You just keep going. It's like, every time you think, oh shit, you need some support to do something or get from A to B, or how do you do this, but you have to do it, you have to plan for yourself. Just be really mindful that you don't have to do some things, you know, there's no expectations around how you get from A to B or what you eat or what you see. It's what you want to do. It's how you want to have this adventure. I always had in the back of my mind, if something goes wrong, you have 24 hours in a day. So it's okay. You'll fix it. You won't miss out. It's like, I say to a lot of people, you know, they want to come visit me in Queenstown or whatever. Queenstown's always going to be there. Don't stress. So even though it was a short amount of time for me to be away and in different parts, that was what I chose to do. These are the places I wanted to visit. This is my adventure. It could be different for anyone else, you know. For me, I didn't feel like I had long enough in some places, but it wasn't for me to actually stay long enough to get sick of a place. It left me wanting more, but also now I've sort of done things on the mainland of an island, or I have, seen how island life is on that island. I can now go off the island and go and visit another island. That's how you go from that island to that island, which there's so many islands in Thailand, like it's not even, it's just, this is what you do. I'm really grateful for the advice I was given for the islands that I did go to. Obviously, I didn't get sick of anything that I did on those islands, so there was no real need to go far and wide just to experience things. I was quite, it was a luxury for me to have these things at my fingertips. I really lent into all the food and culture and alcohol. I just kind of, I don't know. I think you don't take too much from social media when you plan these kinds of things, because, again, that's someone else's idea about what a trip should be or whatever. And I think I took a lot on board before I left, and it made me super anxious because it was just a lot. And I actually had a binder of information, which was like, you know, a couple of pages I'd written down on some paper where I just thought, oh, I've seen this, I want to make note of this. I never touched the information the whole time. It was what I had in my head was what I remembered to do or get. And subsequently, it all worked out. Like, nothing happened on this whole trip that was questionable that I couldn't get out of. There was no injuries. There was no food poisoning. There was just nothing. Sometimes I actually sat there and I was like, oh my God, why is this so easy? Why is there no drama? Why, like, everything's just so good. I can't work it out because I was so ready to shit in a hole in the ground. I was so ready to be so mortified at the food or, you know, being offered something and thinking it's one thing, but it's actually another. Like, it just didn't work like that. It was so fun. I had the best time. Made some really cool friends, which weirdly ended up being the friend I met day one and the friend I met on the last day. those two people, London and my awesome bartender from Bangkok, we still talk now. It's like a month later and we're still friends. So everyone in the middle that might be listening to the podcast, I might have, met on my trip and we talked briefly. You contributed to my trip for whatever reason, a drink here, a chat there, information, thank you, because I had a wonderful journey and I am a little bit like, what the fuck next? Because it's kind of changed the brain chemistry that I have about traveling. I went away with 11 diazepams, didn't take a single one. I have no fear of flying anymore. I'm so comfortable. I'm sleeping on planes again, which is so helpful. I'm now thinking exactly that. What the fuck next? Because that was like magic, pure magic. And I don't know if I will travel with people ever again. Quite frankly, I got so used to it and I'm so happy that I can be super comfortable being by myself. It made me feel severely independent. It gave me such a big boost of confidence. It's actually the most amazing feeling. And I don't know. I'm really excited about what's going to come next. I'm currently thinking about my 40th in 11 months. I've been offered a really awesome opportunity to go somewhere in February 2028. And I think the world's my oyster, but I really just want you guys as listeners to go out there, see the world, book the trips, make the journeys, make the memories and have those experiences because it's all out there. You just got to get off your ass and do it. And I'm really happy to say that I did, even though shit was shit before I left. Whew. There was times I didn't know and didn't think I'd be doing what I did, but holy shit, I'm really proud of myself. And the next episode, I'll touch briefly on my time in Bali with the bestie. It was an amazing 6 days. We were literally jumping with joy to see each other in a different country. And we'll get back into other episodes before I log off for good from the podcast. So if you enjoyed this episode, please share it to someone that actually might be doing a solo trip and might need a boost of confidence. Let them know that they are actually just going to have the time of their lives. Good, bad, other, whatever. Just go. I'm Danny Dot signing off for this week. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.